And we're back. Round 4. The fourth and final round of Thursday Night Modern. Tuesday Night Modern.
Tuesday Night Modern.
Tuesday Night Modern.
Thursday night we're dark, as they say.
Is that what they say?
In like the Broadway world, if you're not performing that night,
You're dark?
you're dark.
Okay.
I love worlds with their own vernacular. Tell them to play. Tell them to play. Each of them has a hand. Make it happen. All right, here we go. So Mark's back from round 1, playing some Naya Zoo.
Farrell's back from...
The previous times Farrell's been on camera, he's playing some Jund. Tell him to fire it up. Tell him to go. Go, go, go. Cast some spells. All right, here we go.
All right, so looks like Mark won the die roll.
Stomping ground, solid.
So this is potentially interesting matchup. Naya Zoo has a lot of tools to compete with Jund,
Yeah.
but historically Jund is pretty much the king of these mid-range matchups.
I believe that. Here's a scavenging ooze off of
Ooze is pretty good here.
a fetch.
Confidant is
the life
better.
is the life total something that Mark needs to manage at all, or can he just willy nilly get his mana online?
He should manage it, but he doesn't need to be that worried about it.
Right.
Like, every point matters. Jund is still a deck that plays Lightning Bolt and can still win out of nowhere, but it's more important to build a board presence.
Sure.
By far.
Yeah, I just feel like if you can cast a powerful creature every turn on this Jund deck,
Oh, sure.
and as we saw against the blue-red deck, many of Mark's cards are out of bolt range.
Very true.
Leaving the terminates being critical.
So one thing I wanted to talk about here with this Jund deck on camera
Yeah.
is the evolution of Jund.
It evolves.
It evolves.
It's got a completely new ecosystem now that it doesn't have to contend with these dredge decks.
Right. However, the ecosystem has become hostile towards Lightning Bolt as
Okay.
decks go bigger.
I felt it was hostile towards Lightning Bolt before.
Lightning Bolt wasn't great, but it was still necessary. Now they get Fatal Push. It's very easy to trigger the Revolt.
Sure.
It's a card that can kill Tarmogoyf at any stage of the game, Inkmoth Nexus at any stage of the game. Very strong play for them. I don't know that Jund needs red. It may become green-black.
Interesting. What are the advantages to being... I just think that there's so little disadvantage and such a high upside to having like Raging Ravine and Terminate available to you.
So Raging Ravine and Terminate are both good. You can play other spells that are equally good,
Uh-huh.
and it makes casting, like...
Hissing Quagmire is nowhere near the level of Raging Ravine.
No, you wouldn't even play it, I don't think. Man. So it lets you be more consistent. It lets you play things like Kalidas more easily. You have more activations for, like, your Scavenging Ooze. Just your mana becomes much better.
Right. So what you're watching here is Farrell's removal lines up against Mark's creatures appropriately. I think if Mark wants to have any semblance of a chance in this game, he needs to bolt that Confidant.
Yeah. So bolting the Confidant is very important.
All right, there we go. So Farrell was able to point the bolts at Scavenging Ooze and Huntmaster of the Fells while saving the Maelstrom Pulse for the Smiter.
Correct.
And this is how Farrell's so far ahead here. I mean, a Wolf token versus a Tarmogoyf is hardly a fight, and this Raging Ravine's gonna get active next turn, as Farrell only has one card left in hand.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this game evolved pretty quickly. These guys kind of snapped it off. The Zoo deck kind of does one thing, and the Jund deck kind of has. Oh, he's got a lot of cards in hand.
Man.
What is this? Oh, Colgan's
This
Command?
is a Colgan's Command. This is the Strength of Jund. He got to draw like 2 or 3 cards off of this Dark Confidant.
You're not interested in Colgan's Command?
Colgan's Command's good. It's not the end-all be-all.
It's got red mana in it.
It does have red mana in it.
So my point is that like I think your incidence of requiring red mana is, you can do it. It doesn't have to be as red as the deck is now. So right now it's 4 lightning bolts. A lot of them are playing 4 terminates.
Usually like 3 in one of the board, but yeah, 4 in the 75.
And then some number of Colgan's Commands. So we're talking about
Colgan's Command's actually a little bit off the radar right now.
8 to 10 red cards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Plus the Raging Ravine. I think you could trim, play like 1 mountain.
So I don't think
Blood
there's
Crypt.
any benefit to trimming, really. Like, if you're playing Terminate, you want to be able to cast Terminate on turn 2.
Sure. Okay.
But it also opens the door to go into other colors. So you could go into blue for, like, Snapcaster, or you could go into white for Path.
Blue for Snapcaster is a big deal.
Honestly, whatever lets black-green get over the Tron hump is probably going to be the best version of that deck.
All right.
Because I think Tron's going to become a lot more popular.
Oh, man, is this Wolf token going to go the distance?
It's looking pretty good, but this Tarmogoyf combined with this Raging Ravine could be
I think it's this
disastrous.
Tarmogoyf is going to eat a Path to Exile here.
Entirely likely.
I don't know what this other land is and why it didn't... Why aren't we tapping for the Path? And why isn't the other land involved in the Kessig Wolf run?
The other land is a Ghost Quarter to shut off this Raging Ravine.
Oh, sure. I wonder... I'll bet you Mark doesn't let people eat fast food in his car. He seems like a very orderly individual.
Sure.
Here's a Loxodon Smiter.
The upside of that is I bet nobody leaves chocolate milk in his car.
Oh god, I did do that, didn't I? Oh man. So this hotel we stayed at this weekend had chocolate milk in the breakfast area.
Yeah.
And so I snagged
It was
one
great.
and forgot to take it out of John Douglas's car. Was it still cold? It's probably still good. You can probably drink it. Is it out there right now?
No, I threw it away.
All right. Probably couldn't drink it after today. It was pretty warm here in Cincinnati, Ohio today.
It was like 50. It's going to get warmer, too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 60 by Thursday. We're getting a lot of rain. Welcome to Trump's America.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Farrell's going to look at the graveyard. We're coming down to it now. And I think this Scavenging Ooze is just going to get way far out of the range. Alright.
Alright.
Farrell's getting a 9. This Scavenging Ooze is gigantic. And this Smiter is just no match. If Mark were to have a path here...
He has a bolt, so he could 2-for-1 himself on the ooze.
Well, Farrell's got another pump. So that makes the ooze a 7/7.
So he
Sure.
needs 2.
Or he could, I mean, he's threatening Kessig Wolfrun. Farrell has to block.
Yeah.
And Mark has to Kessig Wolfrun, I think. I don't think you want to burn the card.
So if Mark Kessig Wolf runs here, no blocks were declared, I believe. Then he loses on the swing back.
No blocks were declared?
I believe so. Which is a heads up play.
Wait a minute, Mark? Oh, why doesn't he win on the attack? If he Kessig Wolf runs all but 1 mana, he has Lightning Bolt for Farrell's end of turn obvious activation.
So if he Kessig Wolf runs
It gets it up to
for 1, it would take it up to 5, and he would go down to 4.
2. He gets it for 2, right? Oh, here's
Sure.
another smiter.
But if he Wolf runs and eats a removal spell, then he's just dead.
Yeah, I think you just got to make him have it.
Well, this is Mike making him have it.
Oh, man. Liliana, make you sack a guy. So he's calculating now whether he should bolt this ooze. I think he has to, yeah, just sack the guy and then bolt the ooze at end of turn.
Yeah, I don't think bolting the ooze does anything. Because he can just eat the guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, so the better move, I guess his only out was. Okay, so out 1 was just making him have it.
Right.
Out 2 there was to save the bolt for this top deck bolt.
Save the bolt for this top deck bolt.
It's a noble hierarch.
Noble hierarch.
Gonna definitely have to stand in front of a scavenging ooze. Oh man, Farrell's gonna enjoy greatness at any cost with this Dark Confidant.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much of a cost here.
Interesting.
Yeah, the game was basically over. If Mark would have drawn a creature to block, then Mike had 2 opportunities to draw a removal spell or just a bolt to shoot him in the face.
Right. Or just negative the Liliana again.
Correct.
Force him to sacrifice a creature and then
Yeah.
get in for the. But yeah, I think Mark had to go for it with the Kessig Wolf run. I don't think he.
Sure.
The thing is, you don't as the Naya Zoo deck, your removal is worse.
So I don't think he wins if he does that, though.
Why not? There was no blocks declared.
Right.
He's got 6 mana in play, right?
He gets to pump Kessig for 2,
For 2.
and then bolt him.
Deals Farrell 6 plus 3 on the bolt is 9. Farrell's at 9.
Yeah, but do you think Farrell being at 3 activates the Scavenging Ooze in a turn? Like, he was at 6 at the end of that and didn't activate it.
It's your only line. I don't see how you win otherwise.
Sure. I mean, I think his play was probably optimal.
No, the problem.
No. No.
The problem is you have to think about the types of cards that the Jund deck has.
Sure.
Liliana is a card that like produces many for 1 card advantage, right? And so like, as long as
Kind
Naya
of.
Zoo can keep it on a 1-to-1 basis, they can game with you because their 1s are bigger than your 1s sometimes. Like sometimes you're gonna have to block their throw away a guy blocking. But if Jund gets into it where they get to have their 2-for-1s in Liliana, in Dark Confidant, that kind of stuff, then you're just gonna fall way behind.
Sure. So Liliana isn't really a multiple for 1. Like, it's just like a 1 for 1. Usually.
No, it represented 2 cards there.
Which 2 cards?
It represented the first creature made Mark sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
It forced Mark to empty his hand on the next turn.
Well, he didn't empty his hand on the next turn. He emptied his hand immediately. I
As
mean, I
soon
guess
as,
he
well,
also emptied it on his next turn, but
as
he was
soon
going to do
as,
that anyway.
and then it represented the creature that it was going to make Mark sack. That it made creatures dead draws for Mark to win the game. So it represented another card. What?
I don't think it represented another card. But
It
it was
often
very good.
represents two cards.
It often represents a card called Liliana the Veil.
Listen, the concept of a card is just an illusion in our minds that we've all.
Oh, we've got a hand on the
agreed.
ground.
We've got
Hand down.
no. I think just the drawn card. Oh, we're going all the way under the table. All right.
Notice we had a bolted bird there.
So we're gonna put Farrell in the. He's gonna be the professor of the Bolt the Bird Academy.
Yeah, he does not have the second bolt for this hierarch. But a turn 2 Bob is huge against these decks that can rely on Path to Exile to clear the board. Because
Right,
you really don't want to path it, but you really have to.
Giving them a land is just.
Best case scenario here, Mark's got the bolt for this Bob.
He's gonna bolt the Bob and play a Smiter. It's just the best series of plays I can imagine.
I don't see a bolt.
I see a Knight of the Reliquary. I find it interesting that Mark doesn't. So, in a world full of 3-drops, you want to have a lot of these 1 mana creatures.
Yeah.
But here we are. He's going to have 4 mana available to him, and he's not going to be able to utilize all of it. I want a Nacatl in this deck. I know that's a different ball game.
Yeah. I mean, he's using all of his mana this turn by attacking with his Noble Hierarch. That Noble Hierarch essentially represents 2 cards because it can tap for mana and it can attack for 1.
I seriously think sometimes that you're trying to find the point at which I walk out of this. Like,
I just bring a Nerf gun and start shooting you in the eye, and I can get that if I really wanted it.
That's for all you Bridge fans out there. Remember that episode?
Oh, man.
You were incorrigible that night. I'm glad that you've matured since then.
Have I matured since then? I consider that a folly.
You've ceased physically harming me, so...
Okay, well, that's good. All right, Bob. Time to do work.
Wonder what removal spell Farrell's going to use on this Huntmaster of the Fells.
Oh, man.
Oh, there you go.
No, that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be.
No, I would have run my Bob in, let it block it, and get it back with the...
Yeah, Smiter, you know he's got Smiters. It's very easy for him to sideboard in some Whitleaf Lieges. Those Lilies, even though they can sometimes represent more than 1 card, should probably come out. Because sometimes they represent more than 1 card for your opponent.
Concur. Oh man, are we gonna get Arlencourt action here?
I think Arlen's coming to the party.
So here's the thing. He's ahead in this game. This should be the most powerful Arlencourt we see. Can we pull him up on the screen? Can we get an Arlencourt?
No, Jake doesn't know how to do that.
I mean, I've cast this card in Limited before. I've lost that game.
I don't think I've ever cast it and lost it
Here
in
we have
Limited.
a beautiful wooden box.
Handcrafted.
It's got a wonderful brass fixture on its opening.
There's an Arlencourt.
All right, so he's decided to...
A beautiful, mature woman.
+1
Arlencourt.
until end of turn up to 1 target creature gains +2/+2 vigilance and haste. right,
I
so
don't
what do you,
know why he pumped the hierarch there, but he
so
did.
I think if you put all the eggs in one basket, Farrell might have blocked, and dealing some damage here is pretty important to Mark.
Yeah, but by putting it all into this hierarch, you open yourself up to get blown up by a bolt.
Yeah,
Not blown out, but
right. It makes the bolt worth a little bit more than the card it was going to trade with.
correct.
So more than one card. Only by a fraction of a card, but
Sure. Yeah, he's definitely representing path, but he could have just not attacked with the hierarch and pumped the smiter or the wolf. Like, the wolf would have been more damage too.
yeah. So here's a great thing about Arlencourt now is that every creature he draws is going to have haste. Here's another smiter. It's going to be a 6/6 haste. Vigilance. Get in there. Get it, girl.
Get in there. You old broad.
I didn't say that.
You implied it. It was heavily implied.
I never called anybody a broad of any kind.
I've heard it both ways. Here's the smiter.
You gotta keep pounding in here. Alright. Tarmogoyf's a 3/4.
Changes this significantly.
I think you can leave the wolf back. I can't fathom playing a deck with this many creatures and attacking so lightly as this guy does.
It looks like the draw from Farrell there was an Olivia Voldaren, which is huge game here.
This is a card we've seen Farrell play before. I love it. Gosh, I just...
One more mana and he's going to have shoot and steal mana. And that's just going to shut down this Arlen hardcore.
Yeah.
So this needs to
I
be
just
the
think
opportune
Mark
turn.
needed to attack last turn.
Yeah, I know that's
board-
what you think, and it's probably correct. But I think you need to take it down a notch.
I can't. I'm gonna play big dudes, and I want him to sit there. I want to wait.
Why do you want him to sit there?
I want to wait until Mike draws his removal, so I can just.
Why do you want to do that? That doesn't make any sense.
I would feel so bad if Mike didn't have a target for all his terminates. If Mike didn't at least get 2-for-1 on his Maelstrom Pulse, I'd feel bad. It's a foil Maelstrom Pulse. He spent a lot of money on that.
It is a foil Maelstrom Pulse, which is pretty nice.
Of course, just one. Who needs the rest of them? Leave this other one back. We need to block. We're at 15. Good God. Beside myself right now.
I'm sure you are.
Is he going to activate? Okay, at least activate the Planeswalker. Oh man, we're on the backside now.
Alright, so we've got a wolf, and we can start bolting.
Yeah, why not? Flip it now. He's got a flyer that's going to be a 5/5.
So there we
Creature
go.
Control. Okay, pump the team. It doesn't matter. He's only going to attack with one of them. We don't need to pump the whole team.
Now that he has this ability, he may start pumping the whole team.
He can bolt the guy and transform it, and then get an emblem where his creatures get to punch. They get tap, deal damage equal to their power. And that's creatures and players.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 5. Yeah, right? Olivia Voldaren's a little push, don't you think?
Olivia Voldaren? I mean, for a 4 casting class creature, I mean, she She was played, but she wasn't heavily played when she was in Standard. I mean, I played her. But I'm all about that. Alright, so we get one shot here with an Olivia Voldaren.
If you had one shot,
We get 2 activations of this. No, only 1 activation of this Scavenging Ooze. No, that's Twilight Maya, right? I can't tell.
Yeah, it is.
So now he's representing either a shot with Olivia Voldaren or 2 activations of this Scavenging Ooze.
It doesn't matter. You're not gonna. Oh.
Now we're all in.
All right. So here's the too little, too late attack. Alright, so Olivia Woldaren's going to be able to plus Scavenging Ooze.
So we've got a Pithing Needle.
We're going to shoot and steal this Smiter and then attack for 5/9. Yeah.
That was a weird attack, too.
Farrell checks his life total after he swings all in.
Plays the Bob. I love it.
The old block and bob.
The old Block and Piker.
Bob's going to block the Smiter, putting Farrell to 3. Hope Mark doesn't have a bolt.
Was the top deck a bolt?
Hasn't shown him a bolt the whole game. Oh, but lets him untap. He does not have a bolt. This game goes to Farrell. Join us tomorrow night.
Blessed Alliance. Untapping 2 creatures.
What?
So we have a Blessed Alliance. Untapping 2 creatures.
No.
And
oh my god.
maybe gaining 4 life.
No, sacks an attacking creature. You don't even get to... Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Alright, so Blessed Alliance can require them to sacrifice an attacking creature. So...
He would just... If he untaps, he just sacrifices the Scavenging Ooze.
If he
Gains
4
4
life...
He still just sacrifices the Ooze.
No, you sacrifice the Olivia Voldaren, because I think you can get the Ooze to enough to kill him.
Alright, so we're on gain 4 life and sack. So Olivia's already at 5. Can pump 1, 2, 3 times easy.
Olivia can pump and steal.
I don't think pumping and stealing is relevant.
It is, because Farrell's at 3. And so he has to be able to block one of these wolves.
He can just shoot something 3 times.
Or just play more creatures. Here's another Scavenging Ooze. Doesn't matter. Life's irrelevant.
And nothing else matters. Alright, so now Farrell is back to...
A healthy life total.
Dying to bolt.
Alright.
He only has 1 forest in play, so if he's playing a second forest, he could technically... No, it still only makes him neutral.
that a lightning bolt?
There it is. Oh, God. Let's bring up Olivia Voldaren real quick.
Oh my goodness. Somehow. I don't know what just happened. What just happened? Okay, so Mark played like the most conservative line I've ever seen
All right, so let's look at the first line of Olivia Voldaren.
flying.
Let's look at the first activated ability of Olivia Voldaren.
Okay, Olivia Voldaren deals 1 damage to target creature. That creature becomes a vampire in addition to its other types, and then put a +1/+1 counter on it.
All right, so if you're attacking with Olivia Voldaren and she's at 5,
Okay,
she's a 5/5,
right.
and they're at 8.
Okay,
You have 6 mana available to you.
okay,
Granted, I don't know how many of those mana were red. I
Okay.
couldn't tell.
okay,
But I'd be willing to guess that 3 of his 7 mana could have produced red.
okay.
You should probably do that and kill them.
Just activate all of them.
Yeah.
Do it that many times. I just want Mark to get way more aggressive.
Yeah, he could have been aggressive for sure.
And I love how Farrell left himself at 3 life many turns over a deck he knows has Lightning Bolt, and he hadn't seen any Lightning Bolts yet.
Yeah.
Meaning the % chance of him having Lightning Bolt like goes way up.
Certainly. Yeah, he's I don't know. I'm not a fan of that line, but again, I couldn't tell what lands he had. So he might just not have had enough land or enough red land to activate it 3 times. All right, so we're going to go into game 3. Looks like Mark is mulliganing down to 6. So you play green in a burn deck for Wild Nicodle. It also gives you access to a Tarka's Command and Destructive Revelry out of the board. I like Mike's starting land a bit better here. Is he going to have the turn 2 Bob again? So turn 2 Bob is huge here. Turn 2 Goyf. Man, that's not a great Goyf. I'll tell you that right now.
No?
This is a Goyf that you want to die to a bolt.
Concur. Alright, so Mark's checking his hand very aggressively.
So this shows, because he's putting into play tapped, he doesn't have the bolt. Because if he did,
he'd fire it at end of turn.
He'd fire it into turn so he could still play a 2-drop. Alright, let's see what kind of turn 2 action. No turn 2 action.
This doesn't look good.
No, if Mike has any discard spell, would be very good.
Yeah, this Kitchen Finks is fine.
Kitchen Finks is definitely not what you want to be casting on turn 3.
Alright. Here's another land.
Another fetch and Knight of the Reliquary.
There's a 4/4 Knight of the Reliquary. Here's the problem here, is that, like, I mean, we've given Farrell several turns to draw a card.
2.
To draw many, a Terminate for this.
Mm-hmm. An Abrupt Decay.
A Liliana.
A Maelstrom Pulse. Hoping Farrell took the Lilianas out, but Oh, he just drew terminate now.
Terminate off the top.
Terminate.
Yep. Yep. All right, this one's gonna probably wrap up pretty quick unless Farrell decides to have a complete
In your
brain
dreams,
hemorrhage again.
you're very happy about like this match ending very quickly.
I just can't. I can't anymore with watching people not attack with in their zoo decks. All right, dance around with some mana. What do we got? All right, here's another knight, and there's a path in hand back up for Mark.
Looks like Farrell has a bunch of lands here.
Well,
Debating which one to play.
like a whole handful of lands?
I believe so.
That's not good. Paths the kitchen finks.
Looks like Mike's gonna get a swamp, probably. There it is. But I believe he's out of basics now. If
And
Mark,
here's the Planeswalker. You're six
Farrell down
damage.
at 15.
Gosh, Farrell wants a Maelstrom Pulse for this Planeswalker, making his Goyf a 5/6.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. How much damage does this? Alright, so he's sacking before damage.
Right, to get a Wood of Foothills. Cracks the Foothills to make it even bigger. So this knight's going to be ginormous.
That's a big old night.
Good night.
Good night,
this
Ruby
is really-
Tuesday.
Is that what the lyrics to that song are? This Naya deck has some really nice knight interactions.
Do they have nice night interactions?
Yeah, the Ghost Quarter can target his own lands
Yeah.
to, like, you know, go
I
get
think I would
additional
rather
lands.
wasteland Farrell's lands at this point, but
Sure.
is that a Bloodstained Mire he's left up?
Correct.
It's a nice vibrant red. I know you were talking about how you liked those vibrant reds earlier.
I think all the expedition lands, leave me wanting in their art. I don't think they're unique enough. Like the flooded or the hollowed fountain is really pretty.
I really like the Godless Shrine a lot.
I like the Godless Shrine. I like the breeding pool.
I don't.
But like the Myers and like the Wasteland is like very bleh.
Bleh. Wasteland, bleh. Adds another land to hand, so that'll do it.
All right, so Farrell drew a running string of lands. Join us tomorrow night, though.
Yeah, we're gonna play
We're-
some standard, talk some
We're
standard.
going to talk a lot about standard.
We got a lot to talk about. So we've recently had the full set spoiled for Aether Revolt,
And
and
3
we've got
cards banned in standard,
3
which is unprecedented.
standard bannings.
We're going to talk about an unprecedented. This is an event. Like, we're going to be around and like take mental notes about what's going on this week, month, standard season, because we're going to talk about it in 5 years. as like
Are
a
we going to talk
bench,
about it in 5 years?
as like a benchmark.
Okay.
Because think about it, 5 years ago they were banning Jace and Stoneforge Mystic,
Right.
and that was the old benchmark. It's a new benchmark. We're going to discuss this all tomorrow.
The old benchmark was Affinity.
They didn't ban anything from Affinity, did they?
They banned the hell out of Affinity. So first it was
Standard?
Skull Clamp. Yeah.
All right, we'll review tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Don't be late.